Okay, for some reason everything's a little crooked tonight. I think I'm very tired. Okay, I'm going to switch over and we'll begin. Okay, so welcome to class, I think 4, I'll find out for sure later, of Pirkei Avot, Breslov Pirkei Avot. And I just want to point out to you that you'll notice at the top of the chat room a invitation. That's a link to a new WhatsApp app group created by Lauren Zahavi, and it's a daily mini shir, a few minutes long. It's not a lot in the morning of Rebbe Nachman's teachings. You're welcome to join. You just can click on that link at some point, and you can somehow get there from your phone, whatever that means. So please join. Okay, so we skipped last week because of Shavuos. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. And because of the cycle of Pirkei Avot, we constantly relearn it throughout the summer. And, okay, so Lauren, yes, that's a good point. Lauren also created, she created another group that if you want to talk and discuss, there's another WhatsApp group, and the link is on the first WhatsApp group page. That is just for listening. The second one's for talking and chatting and sharing. Everybody's having a good time on that one. Okay, so we learned Pirkei Avot in cycles. And we've been playing catch up because we actually had to start the week after Pirkei Avot began. One thing we didn't cover the introduction to Pirkei Avot and the ending of Pirkei Avot. We say these, okay, before and after we learn Pirkei Avot each week. Now, most people learn it at Shal Shidduch, the third meal. You don't have to learn all of them, but I want to encourage you to learn maybe even one a week. That's fine. Okay, so we're going to go to the introductory teaching tonight. Okay, Kol Yisrael yesh lahem chelek le'olam haba. Okay, all the people of Israel have a portion in the world to come. Now, it's not in the Breslov Pirkei Avot, but it's very interesting. Rebbe Chaim of Volozhin points out that it says lahem, to Olam Haba. This is a portion to the world to come, not in the world to come. What does this mean? So Olam Haba means the life that we go to when we're not in this world anymore, and it also means the world to come when Mashiach is revealed, okay? And the reason why Chaim of Volozhin points out very specifically that this is to the world to come, that's the language used, is because the world to come isn't this place that's created and we go into it. It's not how it works. We create our own Olam Haba. How do we do that? As we live our life, as we work on ourselves and come closer to Hashem, and as we gain knowledge and work on Torah and mitzvahs, we are literally building for ourselves our own Olam Haba. This concept is very amazing because I often say, okay, we're partners with Hashem in our own creation of ourselves and of our life. This is beyond that. What this is telling us is that we are partners for eternity with Hashem, okay? Now, rather than have this weigh you down and be a heavy, heavy thought, it's actually a very liberating thought. It means that we have the freedom to choose how far we'll go, spiritually speaking, in this lifetime. It's up to us, okay? And we have to also keep in mind that Hashem knows us. He created us. He knows our thoughts. He even gives us our thoughts at a certain level. And he created us, it's true, to have free will, but he recognizes that we have certain limitations. And he makes allowances for them. What does that teach us? We emulate the tzaddikim, and we emulate Hashem. Hashem tzaddik, the verse says. Hashem is righteous. Hashem is the totally righteous. When we emulate him, okay, we can actually emulate his compassion that he has for us, and we can have compassion on ourselves. And we can say to ourselves, as Rebbe Nachman encourages us to, okay, I didn't do this mitzvah perfectly, and okay, I'm not there yet, and okay, I'm having a bad day, and I blew up at someone, but I can work on myself, and I can go back to creating myself fresh in the next moment, or if it's late at night, tomorrow, okay? So this is what is meant by lahem, we're going to the world to come, okay? All right. The introductory teaching that we say continues. Ve'amech kulam tzaddikim. Le'olam yershu aretz netzar matai ma'aseh yadai l'hispire. Okay. So, as it is written, your people are all tzaddikim, and they shall inherit the earth forever. Okay, so that's the first part. I read it all together. So what does this mean? Your people are all tzaddikim. So Rebbe Nachman explains. We're not all there yet, okay? But the potential is surely there. How do we tap into this potential? So there are a few ways. The first way is to cling to and bond with the tzaddikim, because the tzaddikim teach us, especially Rebbe Nachman, okay, but all the great tzaddikim teach us to look for the good in ourselves. This is a concept you hear over and over again in Breslov. You don't hear it over and over again because it's a nice phrase that you just say, okay, just see the good in yourself. No, it's because we're supposed to go deeper and deeper and deeper and delve for the good in ourselves. We actually should train ourselves to look for it. Again, this isn't narcissism, okay? This isn't vanity. This is learning how to see ourselves the way the tzaddikim see us. Because the tzaddikim only are able to see the good in each of us. The other stuff, they look away from. So those of you, there were a few of you who were on our Uman adventure this year, and we went to Rav Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev. And Rav Levi Yitzchak was known, very, very well known, for only being able to see the good in each Jew. He couldn't see the bad. He wouldn't be able to see the bad. He had blinders on, and he would constantly beseech Hashem and defend everybody he ran into. And there's stories after story. One story is that it was Pesach time, and the Russians, or the Polish, I guess it was the Polish lords, came to town, and they said they made a law that tobacco was illegal. If you were caught with tobacco, you were not only going to be fined, you were going to be thrown into a dungeon. So Rebbe Levi Yitzchak wanted to prove something. So he stopped a Jew on the street, and he said, "Excuse me," he said, "do you have any chametz?" And the Jew said, "What, are you crazy? It's Erev Pesach. It's going to be Pesach in a couple of hours. I burnt all my chametz hours ago." And Rebbe Levi Yitzchak said to him, "Do you have any tobacco?" And the Jew says, "Come here. He says, "Here, it's in my pocket. You can have a little bit, but shh, I could get in a lot of trouble for this." Okay. So the Berdichever Rav looked up to Hashem and he said, "You see, Hashem, He said, your people only follow your laws. They're so dedicated to following your laws. We can't find one drop of chametz in the town, but at the risk of death, they have a little tobacco. Okay? So the point is that he was able to see something that even maybe was questionable. He was only able to see the good. So Lauren Zahavi made a comment. Okay, Lauren says, spiritual self-esteem. Yes. Okay, yes. I actually call it holy self-esteem, because this kind of self-esteem, where we take how the Tzaddikim see us and we see ourselves that way, that's Kedusha. Okay? Because we're able to begin to appreciate, okay, that we are a portion of Hashem. And by the way, I want to add, this is for all brios, for all of creation, okay? So that today you see kids throughout the world, throughout America certainly, from every background, who have very low self-esteem, okay? Everybody gets, as I said many times, you know, a ribbon for showing up. But that doesn't build self-esteem. Self-esteem is an appreciation of the fact that you have a connection with God. That's the key to real self-esteem. Okay? All right. Now, it says, okay, so in the Breslov Pirkey Avot, it actually mentions a line from the Eschanan, okay, where it says that it's not because of the multitude, the numbers of us, and it's not because of how great we are that Hashem desires and wants us. It says, Ki atem ha'ma'at mikol ha'amim, because we are ma'at, the least of the people. This is why Hashem loves us. We're the least of the people. So Rashi, okay, he asked, what does that mean? What it means is, it means that we are the most humble of the people. Okay, so anybody who knows anyone else knows that we're not necessarily the most humble people. So what does this really mean? It means that each of us has the potential for great, tremendous humility. Humility goes hand in hand with holy self-esteem. These are not mutually exclusive. As a matter of fact, they're intertwined. They're necessary for self-development. Okay? So on the one hand, we understand that we are brought to life and that we have this beautiful ongoing connection with Hashem. And on the other hand, we understand that really, without Hashem, we're nothing. Okay? So there's a story, the Baal Shem Tov, it was time for his daughter Udal, who was Rebbe Nachman's grandmother, it was time for her to get married. And some shadchan came to the Baal Shem Tov and he said, I have a proposal for you. He repped the shidduch, as they said. So what was that? He said, there's a really tremendous alui, a tremendous genius in Torah. His name is Reb Yechiel Ashkenazi, and he really is worthy of your daughter, Udal. Great Torah scholar. So the Baal Shem Tov sent a shliach, okay, as was the custom. We know that, right? We know that from the Torah, too, that people send shluchim, in order messengers, in order to go and make a shidduch. And he sent Reb Aryeh Leib of Polonia to the town where this Yechiel, Reb Yechiel, lived. And Reb Aryeh Leib spent some time with him, and he came back to the Baal Shem Tov to report. And he said to the Baal Shem Tov, okay, I saw the young man. And the Baal Shem Tov said, no, what about him? And Reb Aryeh Leib said, well, he said something very interesting. I asked him what he knew in Torah, and he said to me, I haven't known, I don't know now, and I will not know. As soon as the Baal Shem Tov heard this, he said, Udal, you're a kala, you're a bride. Okay? Let's celebrate. This is the one for you. Okay. Why? Anybody? Okay, I see Basha's typing. Okay, is it coming up? No. Okay, it was because he showed complete acceptance of his ignorance. Okay, so true, but more than that, what was the quality of his ignorance? And his humility. That's right. He was a great Torah scholar, for real, like he really was. He was Rebbe Nachman's grandfather, okay? So he says that he didn't know anything. He still doesn't know anything, and he won't ever really know anything, okay? Joanne says, our humility says we will never learn all the Torah. It's impossible for us to learn all the Torah. Correct. How could a human being with our limitations learn what the creator of the universe has created as a body of knowledge? Okay? It's impossible. Okay? So, in other words, he had a sense of humility. Right. He had a sense of humility to know that he didn't know exactly. Now, how do we reach that? Yeah, I did a lot of thinking about this because I wanted to make this real for us because I was thinking about it. Because there are moments where I say, oh, I realize I don't know anything. I don't know anything. So how do we get there? So I kind of went backwards in the steps, and something came to me that I want to share with you. So if you look, so we'll start. This is my reasoning, and you'll tell me if it makes sense. If you look at yourself today, I'm assuming you're all over 20, okay? I know most of you, so I may even know all of you. I don't even know who's in class tonight. Let me look at the, oops, hold on. Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Yes, okay. So let me scroll down. Okay, so, oh, yes. Oh, Marcy, hi, Marcy. Okay, so hi, everybody. So I know most of you. So I know you're all over 20. Okay, so what happens is if you take a look at yourself, okay, and you think about where you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, by where, I mean, where were you internally? 20 years ago, 30 years ago, okay? And you measure, so to speak, it has to be a kind of very subjective measurement. It's a feeling. You measure what you know today, the wisdom you've gained today, compared to where you were, let's say, we're going to say 10 years ago. How many of us feel that we know tremendously more today than we know 10 years ago? Well, I certainly do, okay? So I see Shalom Michal is typing. She's going to say yes, I'm sure. Okay, so what happens is, oh, she popped off. Okay, what happens is that we, compared to, well, exactly, thank you, Shalom Michal. Well, she says, well, the older I get, the more I know I don't know. Exactly. But more than that, okay, if we compare what we know today to the whole sum of our lives, let alone 10 years ago, we can see that at all that time and all that learning we did our whole lives, because our whole lives have been learning, okay, we can see that we still have, comparatively speaking, so many more years to go, And what will we learn in that time? Do you understand what I'm saying? Right now, we're at a fulcrum point. We're always at this point, okay, where we can go in any direction. But when you compare it to what we knew before, we feel like we know so much more. But really, we knew a lot then, too. Does this make sense? So if we're comparing this to our future, we also don't know. Okay. Think about it. It really bears, I wish I could articulate this better. I'm very tired, but it really bears thinking that. So I want to respond to what people wrote. So Shulamit Michal says, well, the older I get, the more I know I don't know. So that's the ideal. Okay. The more I learn, the more I'm amazed at what I don't know. I know I haven't scratched it. Sometimes I feel, the Robert Frost poem, you come to a crossroads in the wood. Sometimes I feel like I'm at that every day, intellectually, spiritually, and so on and so forth. Okay, so Joanne says something else. She says, all my life, I've been a deep seeker, but I didn't know what questions to ask or where to learn. So, Joanne, I know you a little bit, and you are a deep seeker. And you did begin, certainly, with your studies in Musar, and you're still doing it. You did kind of know where to learn. Like Hashem helped you find out where to learn. He brought you to him. But the questions, we can't even ask questions until we know exactly, have an idea of what we're seeking. We don't even know the questions to ask. You can't walk into a chemistry class with a background only in biology and ask intelligent chemistry questions. Okay? Okay. So we're going to go to more comments. There's so many good comments here tonight, and I'm very excited about it. Okay. Lauren says, and that's how you avoid comparing yourself to others. Bingo. Bingo. Okay? Exactly. When we are concerned with our own development, and by the way, this is not narcissism, okay? But when we are concerned with our own development, we don't compare ourselves to others. As a matter of fact, we become more tolerant of others because we begin to understand that we are me'at, we are the least, okay? And that least is a gift because that me'at also means we are humble. And when we are humble, we have tolerance for others' perceptions, for others' feelings, for how they see things completely different from us, even if we think we're right, okay? And we also don't look at someone else and say, they have something that I wish I had. Okay. We are, by the way, allowed to look at somebody who's very spiritually developed and yearn to learn from them and be like them. We're allowed. But what I'm saying is a kind of, oh, look what they have and look where they're at, and so on and so forth. We don't do that. This is that me'at, that concept we were speaking of, that Rashi points out to us. Okay. Okay, more comments. Okay, Marcy. Marcy says, with the more knowledge we gain, the more we realize the total sea of knowledge is way bigger than we ever thought. So the more we learn, the bigger the unknown is apparent. I think that's very well said. It's actually what I was trying to express. The more we learn, the more we are able to begin to understand how great is Hashem's world and how great is the knowledge. Okay? And when we understand, we have to get to a certain point to even really understand that, which is why you can have I can't remember his name, Stephen Hawking, who said he was an atheist, okay? Because for all his physics ability, he never scratched the surface of Torah. So he couldn't understand what he didn't know. You have to know something to understand what you didn't know. This, by the way, pertains to ourselves. Okay, this is so crucial. It's so important. This is Rebbe Nachman 100%. when we realize what we don't even know about ourselves, and we have to trust that the tzaddik is going to help us discover and uncover what we know about ourselves, we begin to see that our own personal spiritual potential is almost limitless, which is something I discussed this morning in the mini shir, okay, is that we can grow a lot more than we think we can. We kind of, sometimes it's laziness, but sometimes it's just we don't have a belief in ourselves. Okay, more comments? Yes. Everybody, I hope you don't mind. I really want to look at the comments tonight because I'm excited by this. They're really good thoughts. So let's go to it. Basha says, on a collective level, we can study how people solve the world in ways we never could imagine. The sun being the center of the universe, bloodletting is medical wonder, Earth being flat. Humans are in constant evolution. True. So we understand also, and the Midrash tells us, that the way the world, the actual biology of the world changes all the time. Our physicality changes all the time. Our knowledge may change to reflect that, but the truth is our knowledge changes all the time. Okay, what we take as fact to get today, what the secular world takes as scientific fact today, may not be fact tomorrow. And as a matter of fact, the easiest thing to look at is diets. They said, you want to lose weight, don't eat fat. Then they said, oh, wait a minute, you'll kill yourself. You have to eat fat. You have to eat good fats. Don't eat carbohydrates. Oh, wait a minute, you need all those B vitamins in whole grains, and then and so on and so forth. So every few years, science shifts. Okay, secular knowledge is extremely limited. Okay. It's not, there's not a recognition of what we don't know. There's only, oh, we discovered this, now it's fact. Okay? All right, let me see. Shulamit Michal, I think we are better able also to look at other people and realize we can and probably learn from them. Okay, so this is something that I really like about you, Shulamit Michal. Yes, we can learn from each other. And as a matter of fact, Rebbe Nachman teaches us something very really relevant to this lesson. He says like this. He says that we have to be humble and recognize our lowliness, so to speak, okay, when we meet someone greater than us. But we should also have that humility and recognize that our peers can also teach us a thing or two. And we should even have humility to understand that there are people who we think are beneath us. We all have people we think are beneath us. There's not one of us who doesn't. They can teach us a thing or two. And then we, at our lowest level, can go even lower and look at ourselves and learn something. So this concept of humility is really where Pirkei Avos begins. This is why it's in the introductory teaching, because without recognizing, okay, that your people are all tzaddikim, and at the same time recognizing that we are me'at, that we're the least, okay, that we have to be humble. Without having both of those operational for us, we can't learn, we can't grow. Because we have to believe that we can be tzaddikim, we have to believe we can grow. We also have to believe we really don't know anything. This is where we begin to learn. And I want to tell you, I'm not just mouthing this. This is something that is a subject of hisbodedus for me, and I encourage you all to make it a subject of hisbodedus for yourself. Humility, and at the same time believing in yourself, believing that you're capable of great things. Okay, a few more comments. At that point, it's so exciting and inspiring to see how much there is. We can't scratch the surface, yes. Marcy and everyone, that motivates me to keep learning, yes. 10 years ago, says Heidi, I thought I knew a little. Now I realize I know absolutely nothing and know that I have lots more to learn. Exactly. That's where we should all be throughout our lives. Okay, just like Reb Yechiel Ashkenazi, Udel's Chassan, right? I have not known, I don't know, I will not know. Okay. Okay, so Joanne asked a question, which Rebbe said my best teachers were my students? I don't know. Does anybody know? Okay. So Lauren says that Tzaddikim always tell us the story of the simple Jew to teach us that with humility we can have profound connectedness with Hashem. That's true. We do have to have humility. We have to make room for Hashem, okay? Because arrogance, gaiva, is actually, depending what day you're opening, look at say Maran, it's the biggest sin. Arrogance is the biggest sin. And what really is arrogance? It's room for nobody else but your thoughts and feelings. That's what it is. I'm right. I have no patience for anyone else. That applies to Hashem too. Because how you treat another person is very much going to show how you really feel about Hashem. Think about that. Okay? Because we know the commandment. We have to love each other. We have to love all creatures. We have to certainly love our brothers and sisters. And we have to love Hashem. It's a commandment. So all these kinds of loves are not very different. Okay. All right. So, very good. All right. Now, I think we will move on. Okay? All right. So, we started the introductory teaching to Pirkei Avos, and this past Shabbos, we were back again in chapter 1. Okay? But we never did the introduction and the conclusion, so I'm going to do that tonight. That's what we'll focus on, because we did some from chapter 1 at the beginning of the semester. Okay. So Rabbi Hanania ben Akasha said something very interesting, and this is the concluding teaching we say every time we're done learning Pirkei Avos. He said, Ratza HaKodesh Baruch Hu L'zachus es Yisrael. Hashem decided to give a schus, a merit, to the people of Israel, to Israel. Okay. So what did he do to give us this merit? Okay. He gave us harba lahem Torah u'mitzvos, a lot of Torah and mitzvahs. Okay. Okay. Gave us Torah and tons of mitzvahs. Okay. An abundance of mitzvahs. Okay. As it is written, Hashem decided for the sake of Israel's righteousness that the Torah be made great and glorious. So, okay. So what does this mean? So Hashem gave us Torah, and he gave us so many mitzvahs, okay, in order that we should earn a merit, okay? Not a merit badge, a merit, okay. So Rebbe Nachman says like this. He says, so why did Hashem give us such a burdensome Torah? This is what people ask. He's not asking it. He says some people ask. With so many commandments that are difficult to fulfill. According to these people's view, says Rebbe Nachman, it would have been better if we had fewer commandments. So Rebbe Nachman says like this, that people who think this way do not understand the spiritual benefits of the Torah and the mitzvahs. Why do we have these? Why do we have this? Because the goal of our lives, okay, is to have two things at once. To have a love and a connection with Hashem and a bonding with Him, yet at the same time to also have awareness that we're separate. This is really to not just merge with Hashem, okay, as some religions say, and not just to be separate, as the Greeks say, okay, but to have both simultaneously. And in order to have free will and to merge and connect with Hashem, without just merging completely, but to have that bond with Hashem, okay, we have to learn how to manage our ties, our urges. Now, at the lowest level, we have urges for eating, okay, intimacy, sleep, okay. We have these urges. Then we go up a little bit, beautiful clothes, a nice house, and so on and so forth. And then we have urges like status, okay, PhDs, whatever, okay. But these are all at their root material urges. And by the way, I'm not knocking them. We have to have these in order to live in this world. We have to have some of these, okay, to a certain extent. But when we're able to take these urges and to reduce them, we gain a clearer vision of Hashem. The Torah is a set of practices that outzens the Zens, right? Because it teaches us constant awareness when done right, when the mitzvahs are done right. Teaches us this awareness that we have a foot in both worlds. Now, Rebbe Nachman speaks about the Gesher Tzarma'ot, the very narrow bridge, which means a lot of things. It can pop into your head at any time, oh, today it means this, and yesterday it meant that. But in this instance, that very narrow bridge is, if you fall on one side, you bittul yourself, you nullify yourself completely. There's no awareness net left. You merge with God, and you're like an angel. And when you're like an angel, you don't have free choice, you don't have free will. And what happens is we lose our ability to gain a merit. Okay, think this through. And then, okay, Hashem doesn't get pleasure from our choices because we're totally nullified. Okay. However, if we fall off the bridge the other way, we're constantly seeking after our urges. We are rejecting the bond with Hashem. We're like a toddler who's chasing it, feed me, okay? Make me feel superior to that person over there. Let me tell that person that they don't know what they're talking about. I really need to go and buy my 47th pair of shoes today because I have to have them. I'm making fun a little bit, and I'm not knocking shoes. Everybody knows I make shoe jokes all the time. I happen to like shoes. But the point is that we can get lost in the material. The Torah is that bridge. The mitzvahs that we have such an abundance of are the guidelines and the practices that teach us various aspects of, okay, this balancing act. So, there's a book, I think it's called Sefer Haredim. I know I've mentioned it in the past. And what it is it describes all the mitzvahs. I can't remember the author, he's very famous. I'm just a little tired, but next time I'll look it up and I'll tell you. And he explains how each of the mitzvahs affect a different part of the body. One affects the veins, another mitzvah affects the appendix, and the eyes are mitzvahs that are related to the eyes, and so on and so forth. Now, why is that? Why is that? Because what's the most material of material? The guf, the body. It comes from earth. Earth, chomer, okay, is clay and materialism, and aretz is the earth, the land. All these are the stuff of stuff. This is what we're built from. Okay. So our bodies are built from absolute materialism. Okay. Right? But the mitzvahs engage different aspects of each of our body parts. They engage, whether we're aware of it or not. Okay. And they help us refine our bodies so that our material desires are somewhat suppressed. Now, a simple, obvious one is that you'll recognize right away is you go to eat something. And what does a Jew have to do? Let's say we're going to eat a piece of bread. We have to wash our hands and dry them. That's a separate mitzvah. Okay, so we're going to make a blessing over our hands. We wash them, we dry them. Then we go and we take the bread and we make a blessing over that and dip it in salt, and then we eat it. So the effect is that we can't just stuff a piece of bread in our mouth. We have to have some awareness. So on the really, I'm not talking even spiritually at all. I'm talking on a practical level. The mitzvahs train us to have awareness. Okay? That's not the only mitzvah that does that. And if you think about it, you'll find others. Okay? So, for example, fasting. Okay? We have 6 fast days generally throughout the year, 2 long big fasts and 4 shorter fasts. Okay, each of these gives us time. Rebbe Nachman teaches that what happens with a fast is we're able to slow down some of our body functions. Our anger goes away, things like this. Even if we're irritable, other things go away, and we're able to focus more on the spiritual because we feel more spiritual. Okay? Hopefully. Okay? So all these mitzvahs in abundance, Rebbe Nachman explains, are really there to help us put the material where it belongs in order that we can gain this schus that we mentioned before, this merit. Okay. All right. Questions? Comments? Nope. Okay. So, so you have to understand that somebody at the level of Rebbe Nachman was a very great tzaddik himself. And when he in his level, when he's speaking about this, that what we're doing with all this nullification, and he mentions eating and drinking, by the way, because we know that Rebbe Nachman frequently mentioned it. Okay, what we do this is we have to understand that when we eradicate desire, or at least lessen the hold that these urges, whatever they are, have on us, we're able to perceive levels of Torah that we're not, okay, that we were not able to perceive before. What happens is that the aging process, by the way, is a natural process by which we begin to think of spiritual things, okay? Because as we get older, we need less sleep. Often we wake up earlier. We can't eat as much. Other desires aren't as strong, okay? And if they are, we look a little silly. Like if you ever saw, like a Hollywood movie star in her 70s and 80s acting like a 20-year-old, it looks silly. Why? Because as we get older, we naturally are inclined to concentrate more on the spiritual for very good reason. Our desires have lessened. But what Rebbe Nachman says is that the mitzvahs that we have so many of, help us lessen these taivas along the way. We don't have to wait to get old. We can really get a handle on it younger. Okay? All right. So there's one more point I want to make about this. Rebbe Nachman says, okay, so something very interesting. So Rebbe Nachman said that if people who ask, why wouldn't there be fewer mitzvahs? Why so many? It's really a burden. Why 613? Why not, 30 or 11. Why 613? So Rebbe Nachman said that if there were only a few mitzvahs, okay, let's say giving charity or learning Torah, certainly very important mitzvahs, what would happen is only those who had sufficient funds, who were wealthy, or who had the ability to sit for hours could benefit from them, because we know that that it's not always so relative, it's also how much you give. So with 613 mitzvahs, every facet of life has a potential to engage in a mitzvah, which is going to bring you that bond with Hashem and that awareness of what you're doing here. And if there were only a few, so somebody who, people who were able to give tzedakah, obviously, an indigent person can't. Although in Breslov, even indigent people give tzedakah. So the point is that all these different mitzvahs are here so that we can say, oh, we have to do this one, and oh, we have to do that one, and so on and so forth. Okay, because some of them won't apply to us. So Lauren says, but we as women have so many less than 613. We have mostly the daily, regular mitzvahs, plus the 3 that applies to us. Okay. So we actually all have less than 613. We have fewer than 613 today, because some of those we can't do because the Beis HaMikdash isn't there. And so men also have fewer than 613. We can't do several of them today. Like, really, we can't do things that were applicable to us when the Beis HaMikdash was standing. And God willing, we'll be standing soon, and we can then do all these exciting mitzvahs like bring korbanos, which we never did before. So the 3 mitzvahs that apply to us, okay, kashrus, chala, nida, and hadlakas neros, right? So chala, so kashrus, and haras hamishpacha, family purity, and Shabbos are actually a lot of mitzvahs. Okay, it's like they're biggies with a lot of different parts to them. So they're very involved mitzvahs, and that we are very responsible for. And we're responsible for setting the spiritual quality of the home. As a matter of fact, we use the word ma'at, right, for the least. And interestingly enough, okay, our homes are supposed to be a mikdash ma'at, a small Beis HaMikdash. So it's up to us, through all the mitzvahs we do, to make that in the home. In terms of number, we all have fewer than what we would have when the Beis HaMikdash was standing. But, quality over quantity. Quality over quantity. We have to do them all as we're able. We have to constantly learn and improve. Okay. Shulamit Michal. Isn't it only a Kohen would have most mitzvahs? Everyone else has less mitzvahs. So I don't know that that's the case, because, for example, we have to give certain tithes to a Kohen. So we also have certain mitzvahs. I don't actually know. It's a good question. Maybe you'll look it up, and maybe I'll look it up, and next week we'll come back and we'll figure it out together. Okay, so we covered tonight the introduction to Pirkei Avos, and we covered the concluding section of Pirkei Avos, and we didn't get all the jam in the middle, but we've been doing that over the past few weeks. Next week is, I think it's our last class for the semester. I have to double check. And what we will do is we will go back to learning some of the chapters. Are there any questions before I say goodnight to you all? My eyes are once again dropping incredibly. They're really drooping. Any questions? Any comments? Michal, I didn't see you there. Hello. It's so good to see you all. I missed you last week. Okay, so have a wonderful night. And thank you really for all your wonderful comments. I really appreciate that really intensive discussion. I love it. It's so exciting. Have a great week. And ladies, if you scroll up to the top, you can see the link to the mini shir on the WhatsApp. please take advantage of it. Good night. Oh, and the gala, right, wait, Lauren, thank you. Okay, we have June 19th, the Breslov Research Institute Gala in Brooklyn, New York. I don't have the link on me, but please visit breslov.org, okay, which is our parent website, okay? It may even be on Breslov campus too. And you will see this wonderful gala with great speakers. The band Simply Sfat is coming from Israel. Please join us. We need to have women there. Lauren's going to be there. Shulamit Michal is going to be there. Simcha Yael is going to be there. Who else? Who else is here? Am I missing somebody? I hope some of you other wonderful women will be there. So if you can make it, please do. And next week, I'll give you another reminder. Lauren, if you're here, please remind me again. Basha, it's being held in Borough Park at the Renaissance Ballroom. Why don't you come? Come live it up a little bit. Come have some fun. Come up to New York. I know how much you love driving on the highway from Ithaca to Brooklyn. So much fun. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. And please, if you can join us, join us. Now you can't bring your flock of sheep. Forget it. Some other time. Okay, bye.